All right, what is going on, Kyle? How's it going, man? Thank you so much for joining me for this quick little, video testimonial. How's it going, man? I guess today's Tuesday. How's your Tuesday?
That was pretty good. I was busy, but they went by fast, so now I'm home. So
Nice. Very good, man. And yeah, I appreciate you sharing your experience about, what it's been like for you in my Modern Man program. And you are not even exaggerating. I think you were in the first batch of guys that I started the program with in July
mhm,
2017. So it's been I think over 3 years.
for years, yeah,
That is wild.
yeah,
And a few of the other guys who were in that batch as well are still on board, and that's awesome. And
yeah.
it's crazy to think how far you've come. But
Mhm.
would you mind just like giving a little bit of background about just yourself as a person? Like, where are you from? How old are you? What does your day-to-day schedule and life look like?
Yeah. I live in Texas, Abilene, Texas. Originally from Lafayette, Indiana, so moved down here for a job,
Nice.
working a criminal justice section. I'm 34 years old, but I damn sure don't feel like it. And if I could go as far, other than the receding hairline, I don't look like it. So, yeah. But I mean, I work basically a sedimentary life. I always have, other than my time in the military. But I mean, if someone looked at, I'd be so bold. Someone looked at me, it's like, well, that guy is active all the time. So no, I'm really not.
Hmm.
So, but it hasn't always been like this. Probably always Probably only since I started working with you. So I've always kind of been active here and there, kind of hit or miss some days, whether I felt like it or not, but
Yeah.
nothing like these last 3 years for sure. So,
That's awesome. And that's part of the reason why I thought it would be great for you to share your experience because most people can relate to that. Most people are whether it's sitting down or being sedentary for their work and they're not naturally active, right? There's like one guy in the group who works in farming and naturally he's very, very active, but he's pretty much the only one. Everybody else is, very sedentary throughout the day and works, right? There's no one who's like a college kid who's got all the time in the world to just work out. Like, we're all adults and working and trying to fit these things into our life. So I think that you sharing kind of your experience would resonate with a lot of people.
mhm, yeah.
um as far as like, if you can remember at this point, but like when we met, like I know we started off, I was holding some sort of challenge for like a week or something like that, and
Mhm.
that's how we met. And you signed up for that, and you ended up jumping on board and joining me after that. But at that point where you were about 3 years ago or so, uh, do you recall what goals you had for yourself? Like, what made you want to sign up for a challenge and then ultimately join me? What kind of goals were you working towards at the time?
At the time, I had just started getting into OCR, which is also course racing, and probably about 2 years prior is when I really started taking fitness a little more serious. Started researching, workouts and dieting,
Yeah.
and because I'd realized that I think let me backtrack. I started working out the November of 2014 prior, and I was gaining a lot of weight, and I thought that I was just putting on a lot of muscle before
Hmm.
I really looked in the mirror and like, oh, okay, no, I'm just fat. So 6 foot, weighing in at 226, 227. It's like, I mean, it's not too bad, but it's like, oh man, because I
Hmm.
got to do something about this. So I started, you know, just I started doing the 6 meals a day, something like that, and working out in the mornings.
Hmm.
Started doing like beach body stuff and shed actually quite a bit of weight. And then one of my friends got me. We did a Tough Mudder, May 22nd, 2016, down in Austin, Texas, and I was hooked ever since. So I think kind of in a way, I kind of wanted to like. I knew I was going to keep doing that. Just kind of waited just wanted to maybe get better at those, and just wanted to look good. So, but I got to a point where you can only learn so much on your own, and the internet can only tell you so much before you really have to consult an expert. And what it was that last quite a bit around the midsection. I was like, okay, I got to do something about this, because I want to like be able to take the shirt off, like, be comfortable in my own skin. And I just remember seeing, I can't remember. It's like I think your challenge was like a suggestion or something like that. And I'm like, well, okay, I'll check that out. And I remember like I was pulling into my church parking lot and I was like, you've been accepted into this. And I was like, oh, all right. So that was pretty much it. Wanted, to stay, find a way to stay active, eventually get better at these mud runs I was just starting to get into. And then, just what it's like to have that rock solid 6-pack abs or so that's where it stemmed from.
So and similarly, to who one of our other guys, David, who I just spoke to before, he said that he was also just kind of starting to get active and just starting to live a more active lifestyle where you started to work out, started to kind of pay attention more to what you were eating, but he wanted to take it to the next level. And it sounds like you were in a similar position. And I remember you saying, I've been working out, for a couple years now. And, you mentioned Beachbody, right? I did, a couple of the Beachbody programs and, a few other things that you had done. And I think, from those things that you had tried, you had gained some traction, but I guess you wanted to really just take it to the next level with something that wasn't, I guess, like a product or something meant for the masses, right? It sounded like you were ready to kind of do something that was a little bit more personalized for you. So that's cool. And it's funny because most people have tried some sort of Beachbody program, right? Because we all know somebody who is, promoting Beachbody. So it's funny how we all start out with that type of stuff, those type of products, and then we kind of progress from there and learn more and educate ourselves. So do you remember, what made you want to join me in the program? Because at the time, it was a new program, right? Like now I've got all you guys, I've got dozens and dozens of guys who have shown that it can work and show that the coaching gets people good results. And now people just sign right up. But back then you were the first ones. So do you recall what it was that made you want to continue working together and join the program?
I mean, it was definitely a leap of faith. Because you're right, it was new. And I remember, I don't think I ever told you this, but I actually tried to Google it. I couldn't find anything on it. I knew you were certified, but I think what really helped was you were so active in the channel, like posting videos, and you were responding to messages really quick, and even offering advice here and there. So I mean, at first, like I said, at first I said no because I knew it was going to be a cost. I just didn't know how much, and it was a little overwhelming at first, but finally it's just like, man, this guy seems really cool. He knows. And even when I said no, you had said, "Well, look, here's what my advice to you is: do this and I think you'll see good results." I'm like, okay. And then again, ironically, as I was pulling to church, you sent me a message. You're like, "Hey, I appreciate your participation." And then you're like, "How about this? What if I offer you this?" I'm like, all right, you got me. So that's really what it was. I think had you not been so active in the group and been so personal like that for free, chances are we probably wouldn't have known each other still all these years later. So
that's true. And you make a good point that like 3 years ago, doing a challenge like that on the internet and working with a personal trainer who's in a totally different state than you is like a weird thing. And it's like not a mainstream thing. And to then sign up and pay that person money, like it was probably seen as more risky and seen as something that, like you said, you wanted to look me up and see who the hell is this guy? I've never even met him before. Whereas now, you know, 3 years down the road, we see these things a lot more frequently, right? And like a lot of people, you know, coach people online, and especially throughout the quarantine here in 2020, you know, it's I feel like it's even accelerated online coaching probably 3, 4, 5 years than it would have accelerated if gyms were open this whole time. But that's cool and interesting to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Now, as far as like your experience over the last 3 years, I think it's really cool because you've put into practice so many different things, and like it's a perfect example of, you know, there's not one size fits all, or there's not one thing that's just inherently best that you should follow. And you've progressed on multiple different programs and strategies and phases of training and eating. So what have you like been able to put into practice, like when you signed up until now? What kind of things have you been able to put into practice, like, you know, strength training, obviously, and, you know, some type of nutrition strategies, but like specifically, what do you feel like you've been able to really, you know, implement in, you know, I guess briefly over these last 3 years?
Well, I definitely, in terms of like my training, way of training since working with you has definitely changed a lot. You know, back then, you know, it was always, you know, about powerlifting and stuff, you know, and taking these long rest breaks. But, you know, you taught me, you know, and eliminate, even though I do these races, eliminating the need to do cardio and really eliminating the need to do like any kind of hit, because you can do hit during strength training. Just all you got to do, you know, is eliminate the, you know, as much time in between exercises and limit, you know, the rest breaks.
Yeah.
So you can, so I learned that you can strength train and basically do a hit workout at the same time. So that's something that even, well, I haven't done a workout besides yours in the last 3 years. So, and if I would ever, for whatever reason, you know, try something else out for what, like this hypothetical, because I don't ever see it happen. That's what I do. And when it comes to like, you know, dieting or nutrition, it's like, it's almost like, why are you eating this? Why you're eating this time? And in terms of like, you know, what it is, like counting macros or intermittent fasting or doing the 6 meals a day. I think I've done all of that with you.
Yeah.
I just kind of figured out what works best for me. And then, especially this year, I've looked more, instead of focusing on proteins, fats, and carbs, which I still do, I've, you know, really looked at quality of food. I actually started researching that last year. And then, you know, looking more closely at nutrition labels, looking at ingredients. So some stuff, you know, that Micros Matter shirt that you have, I mean, that it does. So I've been looking hard like this whole year. That's actually was one of my goals this year, is to look more closely at the micros, you know, the sodium, the cholesterol, all the vitamins, minerals, fiber. So it's just, and that all comes with time, you know.
And you know, I think it's funny you say that, because it makes sense, right? And we all know like vegetables are important, right? Micronutrients are important. But I think the reason why specifically me and you are stressing the importance of that, even though we're following more advanced strategies, is because you've learned how to track your macros, right? And we've learned how to shape your body and see the results you want to see, you know, eating a specific amount of macros, right? Allocation of proteins to carbs to fats. And when you're doing that, you can eat, like, you know, you can eat whatever you want as long as you come to those numbers. There's no eliminating carbs or eliminating ice cream or pizza. And you will be the first to admit you have pizza once a week, or you have ice cream once a week. And you're the perfect example of eating flexibly and still getting super, super lean and getting, you know, shredded. So I think me and you going back to the basics of, hey, we got to make sure to get in vegetables is important, because we have mastered the art of eating sweets and eating stuff that we enjoy to fit our macros. And then it's sometimes we have to go back to the basics of, oh, I should probably include vegetables in all my
Yeah.
meals. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you just find what you like, and there are healthy alternatives for everything.
Yeah.
So there are healthy alternatives for donuts, like those dough bar donuts you eat, and
Yep.
ice cream, pizza, everything. So like I said, I didn't eliminate anything that I like. I still enjoy everything.
Yep.
So doing that, and then as well, once a month or once every other month, I can pick a day where I can as you say, set the diet aside, and then it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to pizza tonight and enjoy this or
Yep.
whatever, and then it doesn't matter.
Yep.
So and then we can and I can keep doing this. With the holidays coming up, I'll do it all the way up until the holidays, and then come Thanksgiving, I'm gonna eat my face off. I'm not gonna care,
Yep.
and then I'll get right back to it the next day because I'm so accustomed to it. And I've learned how to essentially track while I'm on the road, because that was the hardest part, was when I go on the road, and it's like,
Yep.
and I've learned how to do that. Of course, it's over time. My family and friends watch, like, you're just crazy. It's like it's one step at a time. So
Yep.
you know,
And
I don't, and I
oh,
don't
sorry.
feel like I'm restricting myself. I don't feel like I'm so terribly disciplined. It's just Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's just Wednesday. Yeah. So
100%. And
yeah.
I think that's powerful. And there's a bunch of us in the group, and what I've learned is the longer you've been eating strategically, right, following an actual
Yeah.
game plan, right, whether that's tracking your macros or just
Mhm.
your calories, or even just the intermittent fasting, like the longer you've been eating strategically and following like a structured strength training program, the sooner you get to a point where you can basically see the results you want to see on command, right? Whenever you
Mhm.
want to. So like if you wanted to lose weight right now, like you're really lean right now, but if you wanted to lose weight, we know exactly how to do it. You would do it. You would, and exactly that you can do it. We would just reduce your food a little bit, maybe add in a day of cardio, right? Like,
Yeah.
and for a fact, yeah, I'll get leader.
Mhm.
And that is really powerful because like 99% of people in this country can't do that predictably. They can't just make a small change or a big change to their program and pretty much know for a fact, as long as they follow through on this strategy, they're going to see the results they want, or they're going to lose the weight. So you're definitely someone who is in that boat of, you've been doing this now for a few years, you're doing it well, you do it consistently, and you can pretty much see whatever results you want to see, on command. So I think that's awesome. But going off of that, and just kind of recapping your experience in the program so far. And I wanted to do this video with you, even though we've done similar ones in the past, is because you're still seeing more progress, which is a
Yeah.
good problem to have. But like, what kind of progress and improvements have you seen since joining the program and working together?
Well, before I joined, I had already dropped down to, I was like 197, so I'd already lost almost 30 pounds in 2 years.
Yep.
And then after the initial 3-month period, I'd lost an additional 15 pounds. So I was in the low 180s. And then over the last 3 years, I've dropped down further to the mid to low 160s, and have basically been maintaining that since probably early last year, early year and a half, something like that. And
Yep.
then, I mean, I didn't. I wish I would have measured my body fat 5 years ago.
Earlier.
But I'm
Yeah.
sure it would. I mean, I'm sure it was up there, and it's dipped down. I think the lowest probably was around 8 or 9,
Hmm.
and it's stayed there probably for the last year. It goes up, and depending on what program we're in, but and I can still enjoy what I want. I can still have those, as I sell, crap meals,
Yep.
and my body mass index stays basically the same. I can enjoy holiday meals, you know
Yep.
and it stays the same. So that's, yeah.
Yeah,
And
man. I think that's awesome. Like you said, like um, you had lost some weight prior, and then you
mhm,
wanted to take it to the next level, and you ended up losing another 20 pounds
yeah,
probably, and hit the 10% or 9 or 8%
yeah,
body fat mark. Which, keep in mind, like that's something to really be proud of, because that's probably a 1% thing that guys do. Like that's
yeah,
probably like maybe up to maybe 5% of guys will do that, but most guys will never get there.
mhm,
And honestly, I think that um, consistency and guidance, and being around the right people, right, being in a, like having the community of
mhm.
guys, I'm sure has been helpful in staying on target
Oh yeah,
for the
yeah,
last couple of years. But that's something that you should really be proud of, and you're only getting better. You're getting
yeah,
stronger.
yeah,
You're not eating tiny little meals like you're what now right now you're eating what, like 26 or 2700
yeah.
calories.
Mhm.
That's a good place to be. Some people
Okay.
are eating like some adult males are eating like 1500 calories, saying that they can't
Mhm.
lose weight, saying that they can't get leaner.
Yeah,
And if you're eating 2500, 26, 27, maybe up to 3000 calories, and you're the leanest you've ever been, you're doing
yeah,
something right. So you're
yeah.
you're doing things the right way.
Mhm.
um
And
so
it's not like I woke up and started doing this. It was just baby steps, and that's what
yeah.
really worked. Because I've talked to people and like, oh, I could never do what you do. It's like I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, it's like I said, like, I didn't just wake up and start doing. It's like I took baby steps to the point where now, like I was just telling, it's this Tuesday, it's
Right.
Wednesday. With someone else, oh, that'd drive them insane.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Like, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 5 or 10,
Yeah.
because while you're eating 2700 calories today, it's not like that's like a magic number that everyone should just eat 2700 calories. It's like, no, you started off with intermittent fasting, right? You weren't even tracking your food at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, baby steps. You started off with some
Yeah.
general guidelines, learned what times of day to eat, what type of protein and stuff to include in
Yeah.
those meals. Eventually, after a few months went by, progressed to tracking your food
Yeah.
and learning about those and learning about macros. And at this point, you've been through multiple phases of eating where you're eating, 3,000, maybe up to 3,500 calories or so. And you've been through phases where you're going for fat loss
Yeah.
aggressively and you're eating 2,000 or 18
Mm-hmm.
or 1,900 calories. So you've been up and down. And I guess the important part here is that your program has progressed over the
Mm-hmm.
last
Yeah.
3 years. And at the point where you're at now, kind of maintaining, working on your performance for your races, working on getting stronger. You're eating around 2,700 calories, and that's good for you right now. And I'm
Yeah.
sure that will change in the future too.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause we're discussing another phase that will start next month. So
Yep.
yeah, there's like, I heard that quote where the body is like a farm. There's no end to it, or a house. There's no end to a house until you destroy it. You know,
Yep.
until there's no end to the body until we're done. So yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
there's no end game. So
And that's the thing, right? It's like, if you can enjoy the journey of it and the things that you're doing to improve, like that's the name of the game. And those are the people who are going to do the best overall. If you're chasing a specific result, like if you're only working out to reach a specific scale weight, or to go on one vacation or something like that, then that's when people kind of run into some trouble of not being consistent. But if you're enjoying the things you're doing, like you're doing every day, that's how you transform your body over the long term. Um, but I guess to kind of wrap things up here, how would you describe what your experience has been like in the program? Say if someone else is watching this who is considering, reaching out to us and maybe joining us, what would you say to them as far as what it's been like for you? And just I guess any other details you'd like to add about your experience in the program.
I think it's a total life changer in many ways. I mean, like I said, I worked at, desk job, and I can get up and go and climb stairs, no big, I can do stuff where normal people, it exerts them, and but and it helped. I'm trying to summarize, but and it doesn't just do that. When you lose weight and you get in shape, you eat better. Your body as a whole, it does what a doctor can't do or can't prescribe. When you treat your body better, it naturally, I guess, you heal it unless you have some sort of chronic disease. You feel better, you sleep better, you're happier, you're more alert. You
Yeah.
know, there's so many people that have, that have a history of like back, knee issues. When you start eating better and, shed off all that weight, those back and knee issues almost go away. And it's
Mhm.
like, okay, well, I didn't have like a back problem, sort of say, or a knee problem, sort of say. It just was putting excess weight on it.
Mhm.
So, and I don't know, like, I mean, when you see like overweight people or, people that aren't taking care of themselves, in general, they don't, they're really not happy, or they're really, generally unhappy. But I have yet to find someone who's healthy, fit, that's like, I hate my life. So, but,
It's
depending on what's
true
going
that
on,
when
it's just
you don't
getting
take care
food.
of yourself
Yeah.
or your body, that generally that leads into other areas of your
Yeah.
life too. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
And it's like, and you can't, like I said earlier, you can only learn so much on your own until
Mhm.
you really have to go to an expert and say, hey, look, all right, I've come this far, or I'm here and I want to get here, what do I do? So,
Yep.
I mean, what was it say? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Go for it.
Yep.
If it ain't for you, it's not for you. So,
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good point. And is there anything about the program that to you has been surprising, or like what kind of aspects of the last 3 years have you felt have been the or have you gotten the most out of, or have been the most helpful?
The accountability, I didn't know I needed all that,
Yeah.
on terms of a coach and an accountability of the other members. I
Yeah.
mean, they often tell me, oh, you're encouraged, you're such an encouragement. It's like, you guys don't realize you guys encourage me too.
Yeah.
You guys hold me accountable. So,
Yep.
yeah. And the longevity, I didn't foresee it being this long, but it was just like, I remember one guy was, I don't think he's in the group anymore, but he's like, you could take what you learned, just go from there. It's like, why would I? I mean, yeah. I was like, I
And
mean,
that's the accountability. Again, that's the piece where, like, of course, like I'm confident that all of you guys have learned a whole lot, and knowledge-wise, you're in a better position now than you are whenever you joined, right? Whether that was a month ago or 3 years ago in your case. But there's that accountability that just can't be replaced. And me, and you've known my journey for the last 3 years. Obviously, we've been communicating every day for the last 3 years. And I still go out and hire myself a coach. I
yeah,
still put my money in the
yeah,
same areas that you guys are. I get a coach for accountability and for various other reasons. But that's something that, if you want to see the best possible results, having someone to answer to and having
mhm,
someone to, give you feedback on, log your food, share details about your workouts, like there's no way, you can replicate that on your own with your own accountability. And I've had cases, which I've probably shared, which you probably know, but where I've hired a coach and they've literally given me pretty much the same exact workout routine that I was following on my own previously.
yeah,
And that's fine. That's what, I didn't hire them. I know the workouts I'm doing are right. I know that they're really beneficial for me, but it's the fact that if I eat junk, or if I don't hit my macros, or if I'm not seeing the progress I want to see, someone else has to know about it and kind of, give me that tough love when I need it. And also, just confirm in my own head that what I'm doing is right and what I'm doing is on the right track.
mhm,
And it's funny because don't want to let somebody else down more so than we'll let
Yeah.
ourselves down, right?
Mhm.
So, I think that that's an awesome piece, and I agree with you. I think the group part of it is probably the best part
Yeah.
because, we're all in a different situation. We all have different friend groups and types of family members. And what I found is that most people are not surrounded by people who are totally into fitness and totally want to value their nutrition and their health and working out and stuff. And that's why I had the idea to create the group program, the Modern Man program, because I realized that if we could, all kind of create a community together and be our own support system and, be a network of guys that all had those values, it would maybe it wouldn't be as great as if we all lived in the same neighborhood, but it's the next best thing, right? We still
Right. Mhm.
communicate every day and we still have that support system
Mhm.
and are surrounded virtually by guys who are motivating us every day and inspiring us. Like you're
Mhm.
being motivated by some of the other guys and you're motivating and inspiring,
Yeah.
the other guys in the group. So I think you hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. But
Yeah.
is there anything else that you'd like to finish with? And, say, is there, if there's someone who's looking to get in great shape or whether they're considering joining or not, with us in the Modern Man program, but they're just looking to get in shape, is there any kind of suggestions you might have to them or anything maybe you wish that you knew 3 years ago that you would tell someone looking to get in shape, whether it's simple advice or whatever?
All I can say is, if I could turn back time, I wouldn't change anything because it led me to here. And just, I mean, the best thing you can do for yourself is take care of your body.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why would you not? I mean, it leads to happiness. It leads to a longer, more fulfilling life. I mean, I know 50, 60-year-olds that can blow some of these 25-year-olds that don't take their fitness serious, or some 50, 60-year-olds that have taken it serious their whole life, and these 25, 30-year-olds, even me, I know some 50, 60-year-olds that make me look like an amateur. So
Yeah.
it's like you can't go wrong in treating your body right, you know.
Yeah.
And
You'll never regret
yeah,
it.
exactly. So I mean, why not? It's like
Yeah.
if you want to live your life obese and unhealthy, fine, that's cool. But and it's like people always say, when, I don't know why you do this, when it's your time, it's your time, no matter what. It's like, if you run out and, you know, go get hit by a car, it doesn't matter how many calories you count. It's like, well, I'll tell you what, the events leading up to that, I was enjoying life. So, I
Yeah.
mean,
And we can only control what's in our control,
yeah,
right? It's like, we can't live our life assuming we're going to get hit by a car on a
yeah,
certain day. It's like,
yeah,
what if you don't get hit by a car? Then
yeah,
you're at, if you're significantly overweight, you're at higher risk of diabetes and all these heart diseases that 1 in 3 people die from in the US. Like, no,
mhm,
I'd rather not be in that position.
yeah. So, I'm just, and something can happen. Like, it's like, yeah, you can develop something, hereditary or whatever, but it's like, okay, but leading up to that, I was living a good life and I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'd rather that happen than suffer miserably through all those years. And then, yeah, so I
And
just,
I think, you know, kind of what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the sooner you get started on a program and the sooner you get started taking care of yourself, the better off you're going to be in 5 years, right? Regardless of what age you are, the better off you're going to be in 10 years, right? Um,
mhm,
we've got guys in the group who are 55,
mhm,
60 years old,
yeah,
and they're in the best shape of their life, and they got started at 53, right? Imagine
mhm,
if they got started at 43.
yeah,
Maybe they'd have ripped six pack right now, standing at 60, right? So like
yeah,
the sooner you get started, the better, even if you're 50, 60, 70 years old. And, even if you're 20 or 30 or 40, it's going to get easier the longer you're doing it because you get better at it, right? Right now, hitting your macros is like a piece of cake. You don't even think,
walk in the park.
think
Yeah,
again about it. And it's going to get easier and easier as you go. So, I appreciate you for sharing your story here, and I think a lot of people will, get value from it, and it'll resonate with them. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to go over with you. Is there anything that you have left that you want to say, or are you good to go?
Yeah, I wish I had started this sooner, but better late than never.
Yeah.
So
Sounds good, man. And if anyone who's watching this, wants to get involved and wants to see if the Modern Man program's for them, obviously you can reach out to me or Kyle if you want to ask him specifically about what he's done or what he's doing. You can always, I'm sure, reach out to him on Facebook or something, or shoot me an email about it as well, and I'm happy to connect you. But other than that, man, I'm going to close it out here. But thanks for sharing your time with me and sharing your story.
bet. Thanks for the opportunity.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
All right.